Kiwis, and the crowd love it. The referee for today's fixture from Widnes is Robin Whitfield, 38 years of old, and the neutral referee for this test match. Time on signal, and the Winfield first test is underway. Mal Meninga driving it deep into New Zealand territory. First 20 minutes will be hard and ferocious. First penalty to New Zealand. In fact, Broadhurst was looking for a quick tap. But Kemble will kick for touch. Oh, it's a poor kick from Kemble. Greg Brentnall, a bad mistake then from New Zealand. And Brentnall losing the ball. Dane Sorensen. Plenty of Australian defenders in there. Mark Graham, right on the halfway mark, losing the ball. Picked up by Paul Vaughton. Sterling, Australia's penalty.
Referee Whitfield very strict on the yardage they must keep, and of course he's been fair to both sides in these two cases.
Well, Mal Meninga wants a shot at goal. It's a fairly long-range kick. He's about 42 metres out. Right in front. Meninga preferred to Steve Rogers in the goal-kicking department.
Certainly not for the faint-hearted out there, Ian. Those tackles were very strong by both sides, so they're fairly serious.
Meninga kicks the ball a long way. He won't have any trouble with the distance.
Steve Stone, 6'1" policeman of Queensland. Public relations officer for Queensland Police.
So, Australia's first opportunity for points. And the Brisbane policeman, Mal Meninga, has the opportunity to do it. And it's there, right between the posts. Australia draw first blood. Australia 2, lead New Zealand 0. Well, they'll give them a lot of confidence out there, Arthur.
Well, no, neither side can afford to give penalties, of course, and the Kiwis will be well aware now that with the boot of Meninga being able to kick it nearly from halfway.
Now Gary Kemble restarts for the Kiwis. Mal Meninga will return that kick. Kemble was back there to take it. Beat one tackle too. Well, that noise indicates a New Zealand penalty. The crowd will certainly let you know when the Kiwis get them.
No, certainly. They're very vocal at the moment. And, of course, Max Krilic, the captain, was well offside when referee Whitfield came across.
Dane Sorensen, who was somewhat of a reluctant goal kicker for his Cronulla club in Sydney. There's Kemble down injured, who kind of brought that ball back very strongly. He seems to have an ankle problem.
Sorensen certainly not the calibre kicker that Meninga is.
Now Dane Sorensen. This could be the equaliser. Oh, it's a poor kick from Sorensen. And Brentnall returning it straight away. Dean Bell. A youngster in this New Zealand side, had a season in England. The hooker, Tamati. Smith. Mark Graham. Wharton the tackler. Gary Prone. forward in the side, normally a centre or winger. Now Broadhurst. Some solid defence. Gerard in there with Horton. Smith. Arcoy. Run around with Ronno Regan. That's the first changeover. Now what can Australia do with it as Paul McCabe is caught on his own quarter. Broadhurst in there to make the tackle, along with Mark Graham. Penalty Australia, New Zealand up inside the 5. And a bit of back chatting from the New Zealanders has given them another, it's a long 10 metres he's marched them over.
Oh, unbelievable. That's gone at least 15, 20 metres to give Australia a distinct advantage.
Well, Kurt Sorensen was the fellow who had a bit to say. So Brentnall looking for touch. Good cook too. Indeed, Gary Kimball, the New Zealand fullback, is still having trouble with his leg. He's on the sideline receiving attention as Australia launch this attack. Trilich, Wally Lewis, still able to get that ball away to Borton. Now Sterling, Meninga. Good strong tackle. Now Sterling. Greg Brentnall. Stepping around Sorensen. Found support in Sterling. Sterling's through one. Got it to Rogers. Rogers almost through that gap. New Zealand defence a little flimsy on the outside back area there. Now Vorton switching it to Sterling. Back there for Dave Brown. McCabe. Australia very close to the line. Jeff Gerard. Brentnall sandwiched in a good tackle.
A good hit from that winger then. It was important that he come in quickly then.
Now here's Sterling, the grubber kick for his outside backs. Meninga picks it up beautifully and goes over the line, but the referee, Mr. Whitfield, has ruled him offside. Well, he did it so easily, but referee Whitfield judging him to be in front of Sterling when Sterling put that grubber kick through. Near thing than other.
My word, he was obviously well offside, Meninga, because it was a magnificent little chip through from Sterling, rolled along the ground, but Meninga was well up and well offside.
Good decision from the referee. Now Sorensen, Kurt Sorensen, 15 metres out from the New Zealand line. Smith, Dane Sorensen, ooh, a heavy hit out there. Dave Brown. Broadhurst. Expect it's another custom roll for Broadhurst. A kicker. Greg Brentnall up the halfway mark. Eric Grove ball met very heavily by Joe Rapati. Greg Brentnall down injured. New Zealand losing the ball and Australia losing it.
The tactics were by Graham Lowe to put Rapati onto Eric Growth, and obviously the reason why he's a very rugged defender.
There's a differential penalty to Australia from that scrum, but Greg Brentnall, it doesn't look very well. He's on the halfway mark, being worked upon by the Australian trainer. Now Australia launching a raid with Dave Brown on the New Zealand quarter. New Zealand have made a change. Kemble, the fullback, is unable to continue. Here's a penalty to Australia right in front. A gift 2 points. Shane Varley is on for New Zealand. He'll be in jumper 14. Gary Kimball, the New Zealand fullback, now off injured. Well, this is a gift for Mal Meninga. throw it over from here, Arthur.
Yeah, very simple kick from Meninga after the one he kicked before. And of course the Kiwis have gone into this match unfortunately without really a recognised goal kicker. Sorensen's not in the class of Meninga.
Now Meninga from right in front could put Australia further ahead. Hits it. No mistake, a very easy 2 points for Mal Meninga, and now Australia 4, lead New Zealand 0. Now here's Sorensen restarting play for New Zealand. Back with Brentnell. Towering kick. And it's been knocked down by Luluai. Luluai appears to have dropped back to fullback now with Kemble off the field, and Australia have been able to regather. It's Paul McCabe running wide, hit with an elbow in the face, I thought, and knocking the ball on, but the referee hasn't seen it.
Gary Prome didn't miss McCabe then. It was certainly a very solid high tackle in that one.
Watch this hit on McCabe. Watch 13. Oof. Oh, a nasty one. Gone undetected. Now New Zealand come away with a penalty. Arcoy kicking for touch now with Kimball's absence.
Australia looking good in at the moment.
Now Broadhurst back inside for Kurt Sorensen, who's knocked it on. They certainly look a little disjointed, the Kiwi outfit at the moment. The scrum is 45 metres out from the Australian line to be worked by Peter Sterling. Australia lead 4 points to 0. One with the feed. Now here's Lewis, caught by Smith. That's a good tackle for Smith. Lewis playing the ball back to Rogers. On to Fortin. Now Meninga. Beat one tackle. Almost to the halfway mark. Kilic. McCabe. Still short of the halfway mark. Sterling. Touched by a New Zealand player. Again touched by New Zealand. Play on, says the referee.
Very well done there by Mark Graham to juggle that ball and then unload to his one of his own players. Very good work.
Gary Prome running wide on the edge of the ruck from the dummy half position. 10 metres inside Australian territory. Dane Sorensen. Oh, what a solid tackle. Dave Brown in there and Broadhurst swapping punches. Smith, Mark Graham. Tackler was Fullerton Smith, number 11. Scramble for possession, knocked on by both sides.
A little bit scrappy there. New Zealand a little bit at 6s and 7s. They got Varley in at half-back. Gordon Smith's had to go out to 5'8", and then they got Luluai at full-back. A bit unfortunate to lose Gary Kimball this early in the game.
Maybe a little unfortunate, Arthur, but then again it could be beneficial because I think that Smith is a much better defender than Arcoy, and it's Smith who's marking Lewis and has already pulled off a beautiful tackle on him. And more solid hits from the Australians as Kurt Sorensen takes it up strongly. Smith, O'Regan, Luluai, Dean Bell.
Get away! Get away!
Dispute for possession. Bell ordered to play it. This is Smith. Broadhurst. 10 metres inside Australian territory. Dane Sorensen, Arcoy. Kurt Sorensen, a run around with Arcoy. Losing a little ground in the move. Smith. Outside backs chasing it. Touched by Australia. Boosted trying to kick it into touch. The ball's beaten them all into touch.
Great little chip then from Smith. It put Australia in 6s and 7s then. They just didn't quite know how to handle that one. Very well placed.
Looks a good player, Smith. He played in the series last year. Bostead couldn't regather that kick. Now it's Varley, replacement halfback in the side, working the scrum for New Zealand. One with the feed. Frome picks it up at the scrum base. He's the lock forward. Smith dummy half. Varley. Broadhurst. A bell ringer from Paul McCabe. Dane Sorensen. Tamati. Varley. Smith. Arcoy. Can't beat the tackle of Steve of Wally Lewis. Kurt Sorensen up to the quarter line, able to offload to Tamati. Now it's Smith. Running off Smith was Tamati, the hooker. New Zealand's best chance to attack now. Arcoy. Varley. Straight down it there for Eric Grothe, who can't handle it. Into touch.
They're settling a little better now, Kiwis. They've had a better use of the ball and did make ground, big inroads into Australian territory.
Sterling working the scrum for Australia. They win it. It's with Lewis. Standing in the tackle, got it back to Vaughton. Cleverly offloaded it to Rogers. To the quarter line, Rogers, but caught in a good tackle by Fred Arcoy. I hope he injured Arcoy. Jeff Gerard. Rogers. A bit of a dust-up in back play between Kurt Sorensen and Dave Brown.
Standing in the tackle beautifully, Australia, and unloading the ball under all conditions. They're doing it very well.
And getting a penalty as New Zealand is too eager in defence, up inside the 5 metres. Penalties favour Australia 6-4. It's a towering kick from Brentford. And Australia now only 32 metres out from the New Zealand line. The Australians lead 4 points to 0. Clever run around between Lewis and finally Sterling, who took the tackle. Lewis. Meninga. Through one tackle, still able to offload, is he? Along the ground and intercepted by the New Zealand side. Mark Graham was able to fall on it. Now the Kiwis have use of the football as Arcoy can't split the Australian defence. New Zealand penalty. Australians not releasing the tackle player. Now New Zealand with the free kick just short of the halfway mark. Set move. Finally it's Kurt Sorensen receiving it out wide. McCabe was the tackler. Dane Sorensen. Gerard in there with the tackle. Also Wally Lewis. Just inside Australian territory. Varley, Smith, Arcoy, Luluai. Out there for Dean Bell. And Kerry Bousted's out there to bring him down. And he's lost the ball, Bell. Bousted took it off him. Wharton. 15 short of the halfway mark. Gerard. Dave Brown. Caught by Dane Sorensen. Short right hand used in the tackle from Dane Sorensen. Seemed to have little effect. The penalty to Australia, and again it's those New Zealand outside backs up inside the 5 metres.
Little severe, I feel. The ball only has to be played and come clear of the ruck, and the Kiwis were back, and once the ball had moved away from that, they're entitled to move forward. So he's very severe on this 5 yards, and of course I don't believe that was necessarily the right one.
It's in fact, the 8th penalty that Australia has received for the New Zealand players being inside the 5 metres. Now here's a golden opportunity for Australia to score here. They're only about 8 metres out. Krilic, Sterling.
Hardy Beecham was a little critical of this referee in the press today, and certainly not the case.
Here's Rogers. New Zealand defence was very, very good. Mark Graham able to smother the ball with Rogers. Now Sterling blindside, linking up with Brentnell. 5-10 metres out as McCabe runs from dummy half. Very close to the line. Back with Sterling. There's the bomb now from Sterling. Lewis has knocked it back for Meninga. Meninga scooping it up over the head of Eric Grothe. Grothe did very well to stay in the field of play. Australia in possession as kick from Porton was a horror. So a 22-metre place kick for the New Zealanders. And Mark Broadhurst taking it up for the Kiwis. Australia leads 4-0. Kurt Sorensen losing the ball, I thought, behind him. But the referee didn't see it that way.
Not really, Ian, but I think it went behind. I'd agree with you, but he's very quick to and severe on anything that's unusual, I think.
Sterling working the scrum for Australia. It's an Australian ball. It's with Lewis. Now Rogers. Saw the gap. Rogers beat 2, beat 3. Able to offload beautifully to Sterling. Sterling taking play inside the New Zealand quarter. Rogers again. Brentnell up into the back line, very quickly caught by Arcoy. Max Krilic. Gerard. McCabe losing the ball. Lululai was the player to pick the ball up for the New Zealand side. Dane Sorensen. Joe Rapati, a late inclusion in this Kiwi lineup. And Dane O'Hara pulled out. Now it's Dane Sorensen. Taking the ball up strongly. Caught by Krilic. Penalty to New Zealand. And it's against Fullerton Smith, not releasing the tackle player.
Whilst I agree that they should get off the tackle player quickly, I think referee Whitfield is tending to interfere too much with the flow of play. There's a lot of stoppages, and some of them quite unnecessary.
With New Zealand back with a free kick, 10 metres inside the Australian half. Tamati showing it to several players, finally getting it onto Kurt Sorensen. Oh, but he's hit very quickly.
It was a nice dump, Ian. He had other men coming off him and he failed to do it. He just telegraphed the same thing as he did before.
Tamati in possession. McCabe and Dave Brown, the tacklers. Broadhurst, Smith, O'Regan. Broadhurst on the blind side. Back to Dane Sorensen. Barley, Mark Graham, losing the ball. Graham picked up by Fred Arcoy, but lost forward. Now Sterling to work this scrum, 10 metres outside the Australian quarter. One against the beat. Good win to New Zealand there as Lululai is caught. Now he's out of that tackle, over the corner line. He's got support in O'Regan. O'Regan stopped him, but look at the Kiwis right away. It's with Smith. It's out there for O'Coy and Bell. Bell can't get around Bowstead. O'Coy back with it again. Now Smith. Tamati. Australian defence holds. Oh boy, and the Kiwi crowd come alive as they throw it across the field. It's with Broadhurst. Now it's with Graham. Kurt Sorensen. And then for Lulawai, who's in to score. James Lulawai. Listen to that noise as the ball spun across the back line. This was Broadhurst. Held it up nicely for Graham. Graham offloaded to Kurt Sorensen. Lulawai off. Sorensen was able to get a clear passage to the line to level the scores at 4-all.
Great try this for the Kiwis. This will get their tails right up now. Well, it was just a simple try along the back line. Finally unloaded to Brentnell, left out of position. He was making the tackle on Kurt Sorensen, but Lulawai went in for a great try, great Kiwi try.
And didn't the fans love it? Oh, my goodness me. Carlaw Park erupted. Now Gordon Smith will attempt this conversion. Dane Sorensen been sacked as a goal kicker after a couple of attempts. Smith. It's not much better than Sorensen can manage to the side of the post. So the score remains at Carlaw Park, 4-all between Australia and New Zealand. From behind, you'll see Mark Broadhurst giving that pass away to Mark Graham. There's that pass from Sorensen to Lulawai, who put him in the New Zealand first try. James Lulawai as Meninga restarts. Here's the try scorer. Penalty to New Zealand against Lewis. The elbow signifying that an elbow was used in that tackle.
Shows a bit of form, this Lulawai. He's quite quick. He made a break earlier, and here's the tackle on him now by Wally Lewis. Shoulder charge in my book, certainly not an elbow.
I agree. I didn't think his elbow was anywhere near the tackle player. Now, the kick for touch, it's Tamati taking the free kick. Back with Broadhurst. Dane Sorensen. Oh, under a heavy swinging tackle. Swinging arm of Dave Brown. Went undetected. Now the New Zealand players winning the ball wide, and the Australian defenders putting a little more into their tackles after that try. Kurt Sorensen.
There's a couple of incidents here that he could have penalised the Australian boys for and failed to do.
Smith saw the gap, got through the tackle of Brown, offloaded to Broadhurst, along the ground, but it'll be picked up by Sterling. Oh, gee, these Kiwis looking dangerous.
They are looking dangerous. They're coming onto the ball very strongly and moving it in the tackles. They're doing what Australia were doing early, but even better at the moment.
Horton in possession for Australia, just inside New Zealand's half. Jeff Gerard, Greg Brentnell. Caught by Smith. Krilic. Caught by his opposite number, Tamati. Howie Tamati. Wally Fullerton-Smith, who has had a meteoric rise to fame, originally a reserve for the State of Origin last Tuesday night, now in the Australian first test team. Brentnell's kick is a high one. Knocked down by Lulawai. It's picked up by the Australians. Max Krilic was able to fall on it. Steve Rogers. Sandwiched in a tackle by Dane Sorensen.
That's the way they've got to tackle. One down low and one high. Stop the ball movement.
Jeff Gerard. Dane Sorensen again the tackler. Now Sterling. Some open space to work in. Beat one tackle, Sterling, but can't offload. Only 10 metres out from the Kiwi line. West Australia right away. It's with Wally Lewis. A step off the right foot and offloading cleverly to McCabe. Offloading again to Fullerton Smith. So close to the line. Australia almost there. Here's Sterling. Now grab a kick, but no one wants to chase it.
Bad pass there to Sterling from a very experienced campaigner in Max Krilich. He got a bit panicky then.
Quick tap from the Kiwis, and now it's out to Mark Graham. And away go the Kiwis. Look at them throwing the ball, interchanging play beautifully. But finally picked up by Kerry Bowstead, but Australia was nearly caught napping.
My word, that's for their experience, that was unbelievably bad football. They were just a simple tap from the 22 and away they went. Poor football, Australia.
Dave Brown. Oh, the heavy tackle, a lot of heavy stuff going in there. That was Broadhurst over the top. Right on the halfway mark. Dave Brown playing the ball, scores a level at 4-all, but it's a Kiwi penalty. And he's pointing at Dave Brown.
He didn't play it right. He's played it with the side of his foot. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Says when the English referee's worried about that, aren't they?
Yes, I'd agree. They're unbelievable at playing the ball. Of course, it can go anywhere, but...
Arcoy kicking for touch. Now Arcoy playing in the centre for the New Zealand side, following the injury to Gary Kimball, the fullback. Shane Varley is halfback, and Gordon Smith at 5'8". Now the Kiwis are only 10 metres outside the Australian quarter line. Dane Sorensen standing in a tackle, trying to offload to Broadhurst. Varley, Smith, cleverly selecting the runner in prone. Tamati, Kurt Sorensen, still short of the quarter line, Australian territory. Broadhurst looking for a runner, but the runner had gone past him. Penalty Australia. And another 10 metres. Mark Broadhurst, I think it was, back chatting. Cost them another 10 metres. Well, he's pretty severe on this, aren't they?
Well, I think it's quite ridiculous, and it's reasonable that the crowd do boo, because he's one interfering with the flow of play. There's some good football developing, and he's constantly interfering with by giving needless penalties, and particularly in that case, it wasn't really warranted.
Oh, bad mistake from Brendel, hasn't found touch. Well, unforgivable. 10 minutes to half-time, scores a level 4-all. Kurt Sorensen picking up the dregs. Right on the halfway mark. This is Gordon Smith. I've been impressed with this fellow. Now Dane Sorensen.
Curdy's brothers having a magnificent game, playing very well.
Mark Broadhurst back inside for Smith, who seems to be everywhere.
He's having another big match too.
Tamati. Varley, now Fred Arcoy. Oh, smothered in a tackle from Fullerton Smith. Kurt Sorensen. A long ball for Dean Bell. But wrapped up by Bowstead. And Wally Lewis over there as well. Kurt Sorensen. Mark Graham. Big one tackle into the clear. He's got support too in O'Regan. But O'Regan pulled down just inside the Australian quarter.
They're making inroads in the defence of Australia. Australia a bit lethargic in their defence.
That was the sixth tackle, and this is the second changeover. McCabe from dummy half, losing the ball behind him. Oh, goodness me, it's a scrappy play from the Australians. New Zealand back in possession. Varley, Smith, short ball for Graham. Lulawai. Smith is dummy half, running from that position. Oh, that's a good tackle. Fullerton Smith, that's how he tackled in the State of Origin game. He's continuing that sort of defence here today at Carwell Park. Howie Tamati, the hooker.
That's why he's probably in this Australian side. He forced his way in with that sort of tackle.
Dane Sorensen. Mark Broadhurst back with Dane Sorensen. Nowhere to go. Broadhurst from dummy half. And that's 6 tackles for the Kiwis, and they were called upon, that's a good ruling, they were called upon to bring the ball back for the changeover. Instead, they threw it away or kicked it away. So this referee, Robin Whitfield, very strict.
He's got plenty of actions, Ian, but I'm afraid that one was a valid decision, and certainly one that was warranted.
Brendel making certain he's found touch here. 5 metres from halfway, Eric Groth. I think it might have been only the second time he's handled the ball in this match. Krilich linking up with Fortin. 8 metres inside New Zealand territory, 4-all the score. Sterling. Fortin. Dane Sorensen, the tackler. Ollie Lewis, Steve Rogers, Kerry Bosted. Wasn't a good pass. Bosted had to reach for it and couldn't take it. Consequently, Dean Bell was able to get it for the Kiwi side. So there's some careless handling out here and careless passing from the Australians. Kurt Sorensen. Able to offload to Prome. Knocked it behind him, said the referee. Caught by Sterling.
Need to be a little deeper in attack, the Kiwis. They got very flat then and stood still passing, which is no good. They've got to be coming onto the ball.
Arcoy. Caught by Max Krilich. Dane Sorensen. 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Mark Graham. New Zealand skipper made a lot of breaks out there, lurking out on the edge of the ruck. And that's another changeover. Gee, we're seeing a few changeovers in this test match. McKay. Krilich. Oh, hit right by Sorensen. And he's been sprung too. The referee saw that. Well, Kurt Sorensen really hit Max Krilich fairly late. The ball had long gone through Krilich's hands, and it was an elbow, I think you'll find, that Kurt Sorensen used.
Should have been sent off. This Krilich unloaded. Oh, I don't know. He was probably within his rights to hammer him. Not quite as high as he went. So it was probably for the high tackle rather than the timing of it. I thought it was well after he'd unloaded, but in this case it was fairly timely tackle.
Well, don't play against you, Arthur Summons. Now, free kick for Australia. Eric Groth takes it on the New Zealand quarter. Max Krilich still down receiving attention for that tackle that you said was fair enough, Arthur.
Well, it's a test match, Ian, and of course it's not for the faint-hearted. You're out there playing for your country.
Paul McCabe now playing the ball only 12 metres out from the New Zealand line. Dave Brown taking the ball up strongly. Krilich is to his feet but walking very gingerly. Line side goes Jeff Gerard. Steps inside one tackle, a desperation tackle around the ankles. Brought Gerard down. 3 metres out. Last tackle for the Australians. Here's Sterling. They're going to run it. No, Lewis has put the kick through. Following it up. Anybody's ball. Well taken by the New Zealand winger, Rapati.
He's had a big game. He's tackled well. He's handled the ball well, and he's a real find for New Zealand.
Dane Sorensen. Kurt Sorensen. Anybody's ball. Oh, gee, McCabe could have taken that.
That was poor football. He needn't have done that. He'd made good ground there, Kurt Sorensen. He should have retained the ball.
Arcoy sending it down to Brendel. Can he beat the tackle of Varley? No, he can't. Well, it was just about held by Varley, but Smith was there to make sure of the tackle. And here's an Australian penalty, and it's against Smith.
Bit of stupidity creeping into the Kiwis' play. They're laying on the man. They know how severe this referee is on that. Kurt Sorensen's throwing silly passes, and their nines Privilege earlier, which could be a send-off. So they've got to steady their play up a bit. They're well in this game.
Well, Mal Meninga wants another shot at goal. He's 10 metres inside the New Zealand half. And he's just to the left of the uprights. So Meninga could put Australia in front with half-time looming. Time off, of course, for the kick, but it's just over 3 minutes remaining to half-time. Signal back on by the referee as Meninga moves in for the kick. Hits the upright. Following it through. Oh, Bostead almost nearly pulled off a miraculous try following that kick through, and he very nearly got his fingers to it. Well, Varley picks it up at the scrum base for New Zealand. The score remains 4-all. Luluai on the quarter. Kurt Sorensen. This has been a torrid test match. No big pardons out there. Broadhurst. Caught by Paul Horton. Smith inside for Dane Sorensen. Tamati. Mark Graham. Last tackle for the Kiwis. They haven't kicked very often in this match. Will they do it now? There's Smith looking for touch. But Rogers was able to stop it going into touch, but knocked it on in trying to do so. The Australians were expected to dominate this match, and they certainly haven't done so.
Oh, well, I think we both realised it would be fairly close, and it's certainly measuring up as that.
Bell down the blind side from the scrum win to New Zealand. Locked on by Arcoy.
Rushing their play a little bit, and they can steady it up. They're well in this game. They don't have to do anything more than keep controlling the ball, which they've done very well in the first half. One of the problems Australia may have, could get very leggy out there. I've played on this ground before, and it gets very heavy.
Differential penalty to Australia. And a tap from Sterling. Now it's with Lewis. Now it's Rogers. There's a gap there for Rogers. Can he step inside Sorensen? He did, but it was Varley coming over the top to put him down. Now Lewis, a run around with Meninga. Fullerton Smith. 12 metres inside New Zealand territory, almost half-time. And 4-all. Gerard offloading, scooped back, but knocked on, said the referee.
A little bit of scrappy play creeping in. They're trying a bit hard both sides, of course. Pressure's on both sides, and of course this is natural that they try and force the play, and consequently the ball goes down.
Varley feeding it to New Zealand and won by New Zealand, but Varley very nearly lost it. In fact, he's lost a fair bit of ground trying to recover that ball. O'Regan, Rapati, half-time siren sounds, and referee Whitfield signals half-time with the score. New Zealand 4 and Australia 4. Let's check the statistics of the first half. The penalties have favoured Australia 13 to New Zealand's 8. Scrums 6-3 to New Zealand. Half-time score 4-all. Back for the second half shortly. For the second half with the score at 4-all. Now Arthur Summons, the first 10 minutes will be vital.
I'll say it'll be vital, and this one's crucial. The defence will be strong on both sides, and any side, the side that makes the break in this particular area will go on with this game, but it'll be very, very tough, as it was in the first half.
Check the errors from the first half for New Zealand. They've made 17 missed tackles, Australia 15 missed tackles. New Zealand's dropped the ball on 12 occasions as Meninga makes a break down the field. He's only got the fullback to beat, and he's taken beautifully by Luluai. Only 5 metres short of the quarter line. Golden opportunity for Australia to put early points on the board in the second half. Here's Lewis and Rogers knocking on, and also the New Zealanders knocking on. So a golden opportunity for Australia has amounted to nothing. Getting back to the error count from the first half. New Zealand 17 missed tackles, Australia 15. New Zealand 12 drop balls, Australia 11, and New Zealand have thrown 4 bad passes to Australia's 3. The best tacklers for New Zealand, Graham has made 15 tackles, Broadhurst 13, Probe 12, and the Australians, McCabe 19 tackles, Gerard and Borton 15 each. First scrum of the second half, fed by Peter Sterling. Australia's ball, this is Brentnell. 32 metres from the New Zealand line. Eric Groth. Still short of the quarter. Gerard. Caught by Tamati. Dave Brown. Scooped up by Borton. Now it's back with Sterling. The defence just as strong in this second half.
So far it's been very good, the defence, but they'll want to keep making the tackles. Australia's looking good at the moment. Lost opportunity through Meninga earlier, but they've got possession and they'll go on with it now.
This is the last tackle as Brentnell puts the chip through. Luluai takes it beautifully just outside his own line. Rapati caught by Groth and Borton.
Similar type wingers, Groth and Rapati. They're both very strong.
Tamati running from the dummy half position. Prone. Last tackle for New Zealand. Smith. Beautiful kick from Smith, and a collision between Graham, but picked up and regathered beautifully by Smith. Now it's Brett Arcoy.
We went the wrong way. What a shame. It was a certain try. Arcoy came inside instead of staying on the other side of him.
Now here's Wally Lewis making a break. Up to the halfway mark. He's got support in Brentnell.
He's a great player, this Lewis. Put them right back on the attack, Australia.
Peter Sterling. Rogers, Borton, Eric Groth. Run away from Tamati. Still going, Groth. He's up to the quarter line. He's got support too. He's run away from Luluai. Oh, the pass knocked down by Paul McCabe. Oh, what an opportunity, Arthur.
Bad football from Groth. He should have drawn the fullback and just unloaded to McCabe, who was the support. What a shame. Unbelievably bad play by Australia there. And unfortunately, McCabe couldn't hold the pass.
Now the scrum, 10 metres out. Eric Groth has seen little of him in this game so far, but that was certainly a good run.
Should have scored that try, or they made the try then, of course. He did everything right early on and then failed. Wanted to go one more and beat the fullback when all he had to do was unload to McCabe.
Smith. Mark Graham, full jolting tackle from Fullerton Smith. Beautiful tackle. Arcoy. Will be a little big. Grant's waiting for it. Takes it calmly.
Early then, Ian, I think he could have taken it a few more tackles before kicking back to Australia. They're putting pressure right on them, Australia, and that's what they can do without. They've got to settle their play.
Sterling having trouble holding it. They're knocked on, according to referee Whitfield.
Let off there for the Kiwis. They've retained possession now for quite some minutes, Australia, and this pressure will gradually build up from them.
Well, a differential penalty to New Zealand. It's a funny signal the referee was giving, but it's Howie Tamati, the New Zealand hooker, who's down receiving attention. On the sideline, there's Mark Murray loosening up, so we can expect an Australian change very shortly. I'd be surprised if Brendel is the player replaced. He's been down injured on a number of occasions in the game. Here's Luluai. Caught by Port. Good run from Gary Prone, the lock forward. He's played pretty strongly today. Smith. Arcoy. Offloaded well to O'Regan. Inside goes Bell. Beautifully caught by Meninga, though. Oh, this game is just going from one end of the field to the other. Here's O'Regan involved against Smith. Gary Prome again. Luluai. Play just on the halfway mark. Gordon Smith trying to catch Brendel out of position, but Bo Stepper's here to take the ball. Now it's with Brendel.
Trolling play very well, Smith, at the moment. He's the general in the Kiwi side, and he's a very good player.
Gordon Smith, who certainly has been overawed in his Test debut. Max Krilic hit very heavily by Broadhurst. Again, caught by Tamati.
Come on, New Zealand! Come on, Kiwis!
Sterling, Lewis, now Rogers. The run-around move failed, and it's been picked up by Smith for New Zealand. So the Kiwis charge again. Playing with a lot of confidence now, the Kiwis. 32 metres out from the Australian line. Here's Varley. Switching play with Prome. Now Rapati. Varley and Prome work the run around. Prome almost through the gap. Dane Sorensen. Tamati. Scooped up by Smith, who's everywhere. Broadhurst. Kurt Sorensen. Cleverly cut the pass away from Luluai, but it was forward. Oh, boy.
The crowd went mad. It was an amazing bit of play. Correct decision then by the referee.
Well, Luluai thought he was in for his second try. So did I must admit. Kurt Sorensen took the tackle and then offloaded, but it was clearly a forward pass. Now Australia, maybe a little fortunate to still hold New Zealand 4-all. They've got a lot of work to do out there now, Australia. Jeff Gerard. Eight metres inside New Zealand territory. Sterling. McCabe. Port. Lewis. Sterling. Lewis. Now Rogers. Able to offload to Fullerton and Smith. Lewis's kick taken very calmly by Dean Bell. Kurt Sorensen lurking out wide again, turned it back inside for Prome. Prome to the halfway mark. Oh, a desperation tackle though from Rogers. New Zealand putting plenty of pressure on the Australians now. Here's Mark Graham in the clear. He's got plenty of support. Got the pass away to Bell. Inside for O'Regan. Back to Bell. But the cover just got there. Oh, New Zealand so close. Now it's with Varley. Now it's Smith. Dane Sorensen. shoulder and finally taken out there by the Australians. Oh, gee, Arthur Summons, the Kiwis, so close.
What a let-off. They've done everything right except just stop panicking there.
Now here's Eric Grothe. Eric Grothe into the clear, and there's Australian try. Well, it just came out of nothing. Eric Grothe with no one near him. Eric Grothe in to score underneath the post, and boy, oh boy, Australia defending so grimly, and then suddenly, like a lightning bolt, Eric Grothe just burst out of the ruck, and there was daylight between him and the try line. So Australia take the lead, 8 points to 4, and the try scored by Eric Grothe right underneath the post. Here's how it happened. They were defending, they got possession, suddenly Grothe had it, and he beat that high tackle from Mark Broadhurst, and that was it. Shut the gates. The big fellow was able to get away from this cover defending tackle, and from that point was just a procession to the line. Eric Grothe, who we made the comment earlier, we haven't seen a great deal of him in the test match, in for the try under the post.
He redeemed himself a little bit there, Ian, of course. He cost Australia a try earlier. But nevertheless, that's typical of this Australian side. They can turn sheer crucial defence into attack overnight, and that's what they did there.
Well, Meninga won't get any easier kicks than the ones he's had today. Then they'd have been right in front. Meninga in for the kick. Makes no mistake, right between the posts, and Australia lead New Zealand by 10 points to 4 at Carlaw Park. Sight to see a fellow like Grothe come charging down the field as he did then, and that's how he scored the try. And here's Australia coming away with it as Boustead fielded the kickoff. There's been a change in the Australian side with Greg Brentnell replaced by Mark Murray. A reshuffle of the back line. I think you'll find that Steve Rogers is actually playing fullback. Well, the Auckland captain, Ron O'Regan, who's in this New Zealand side today, penalised. Rogers finding touch. Dave Brown.
Well, Australia scored that try, certainly against the run of play. The Kiwis were doing everything right at that stage, and right against the run of play, away they went.
Beautiful hands from Wally Lewis to offload to Boustead. There's Mark Murray, the replacement player in, caught by Prome. Australia lead by 10 points to 4. Sterling and Portman working a run around. Right on the halfway mark. Gerard, Peter Sterling, Lewis, Rogers. Inside ball for Boustead. Ran behind Wally Lewis, but the referee said no Shepherd. Now Peter Sterling. Fullerton Smith overran the ball. Sterling able to pick it up, but the referee calling a knock on. Mark Murray, Queensland halfback, now in the Australian side, and he's working the scrums. Sterling, it looks as if he's playing fullback. Peter Sterling at fullback, Mark Murray working the scrums. Smith, quickly caught by Lewis. Prone, upended by Brown. Dane Sorensen. Broadhurst. Swamped by the Australian defenders. Smith. Mark Graham. Oh, big gap there for Graham too. He got a pass away to Tamati, but it's been ruled forward. And I think I find that's a pretty good decision.
Yes, it's Graham was a big gap there, and he ran into it, of course. Oh, very marginal, I'd say. But he's very quick to pick these things up. Anything that's marginal, he'll go against the attacking side.
Now Krilich with a tap kick. Lewis selecting Dave Brown. Gerard running off him. 2 footballs on the field. Gary Crone has run away with the wrong one. Paul McCabe's got the real one. Oh, almost an intercept from Arcoy as Rogers had to jump high for that.
Quite a funny incident then, eh? 2 balls on. Cromes picked one up and headed off for the try line, and the other ball was with Paul McCabe, and he was passing it across the field. Quite hilarious. High drama here, and then suddenly that sort of comical incident occurred.
15 minutes of play gone in this second half, with Australia leading 10 points to 4.
No reason why New Zealand can't get well back into this game. They're just not finishing off their moves. When they're tending to panic at the end of their attack, and if they settle in that position, they could still get well back into this game and go on and win.
The scrum is 12 metres inside Australian territory. Arcoy working a run around with Combe. Very prominent is Combe. Smith. Kurt Sorensen. Tamati. Kurt Sorensen diving on a loose ball. Mark Broadhurst out of 1 tackle. Varley, Smith, Mark Graham. Hit very heavily over the top from McCabe. Sickened him too.
Pretty high tackle, this one by McCabe. It's around the throat, and I think his wind's cut fractionally. He's come in very high. Stepped inside that player, and McCabe's coming in now, as you can see, and he's come right around the top. Oh, fairly solid. That wouldn't be acceptable in Sydney football, but certainly in a test match, very hard stuff.
Mark Graham still receiving attention. New Zealand, Arthur, have slowed somewhat after that runaway try from Growth.
Yes, that shocked him, unfortunately, but Graham is getting attention for his knee. I think it's been twisted. He's come down on the knee, and then McCabe's come in, and it seems to be the knee that's been twisted in that particular incident, not the high tackle.
I don't think the high tackle would help.
I'm sure it wouldn't.
Well, the New Zealand replacement is on the sideline, Graham West. So it could well be that Mark Graham may be leaving us.
That'll be a blow to the Kiwis. He's been making enormous inroads into the Australian defence, and he's a fine footballer.
Now, Arcoy, the big towering kick down there for Sterling, takes it safely. He's able to beat 1 tackle, Sterling. Caught 8 metres out from his own line. Australia lead by 10 points to 4. Meninga thumping off defenders as if they're flyers. Look at the big fella go. Good bumping run from Mal Meninga. Now it's Jeff Gerard. Murray. Horton. Wally Lewis into the clear. Wally Lewis over the halfway mark. Beautifully caught by Gary Frome right around the ankles. Copybook tackle. Horton. Standing in a tackle but offloading to Smith for New Zealand, who in turn is able to offload, and now the Kiwis start to run the ball as O'Regan. It's caught by Fulton Smith. He's doing with some heavy hits, this fella. Mark Graham leaving the field for New Zealand. That's a blow. Kurt Sorensen in slow motion. Well, Mark Graham being assisted from the field by the trainers. As the Kiwis spin the ball, it's with Smith. Broadhurst. Graham being carried off into the dressing rooms. Australia in possession now. Here's Borton. Offloading to Krilich.
Well, that was marginal then, and he let that one go. A bit unfortunate then. I thought it was a fraction forward.
Mark Murray.
Australia appears in control at the moment, and they're doing things steady. They're just taking the ball up. They're handling it very well. And now a penalty given for a Shepherd, obviously. He's run around his own man. Graham West coming on now.
Kiwi replacement, Graham West. Replacing his captain, Mark Graham. Now, Tamati taking the tap. This is Dane Sorensen. Straight into the Australian defenders. 20 minutes of play remaining in this test match. Australia lead by 10 points to 4. Smith. West, big tall fellow, got the ball back along the ground. Crone. Arcoy. Met by Gerard and Dave Brown. Australia's defensive pattern is holding pretty well, Arthur, as Dane Sorensen takes it up.
Yes, excellent defence by Australia. They're a very well-drilled outfit, of course. They've played together quite some time, and they're a very, well, they're the world champion side. They should be doing it too.
Dane Sorensen's ball out there for nobody. Dean Bell able to regather with New Zealand, and then a tackle. And take play back inside Australian territory. That'll be a changeover. Horton, Sterling, Rogers, Bosted, now Eric Grove. So Bosted from one side of the field to the other to make an extra man. Now Murray. Krilich. Meninga.
From Krilich, set him up a little bit, but he did well to hang on to it. But he's lost the ball on the ground. The scrum will go down.
Bali worked the scrum and won against the feed by Australia. Here's Wally Lewis. Meninga. A big dead argument. A punch got in there on Meninga, but he's still able to stay in his feet. He's a strong man. He's still able to offload the Bosted. Now Dave Brown. Fulton Smith. The New Zealand quarter, Australia leading 10-4 and looking good. Here's Borton, run around with Krilich. Now it's McCabe into the clear. McCabe, he's got it under Rogers, only one man to beat, and he does it with ease. penalties. Steve Rogers stepped right around Lualai as if he wasn't there, and Australia go further in front. They were looking good, putting plenty of pressure on this New Zealand side, and Steve Rogers was the try scorer.
They've been building up pressure for quite some time. Everything they've been doing has been full of confidence. Just a simple run around.
And it was McCabe who created the gap and got that good pass away to Rogers and stepped right around Lualai to go and score pretty handy to the posts.
Well played. There's good work here by McCabe. He drew about all the defence, and then it was a matter of standing up Lualai for Rogers to go in. A great centre for Australia, Rogers. He's given enormous service and deserving a fine try. But they've been getting on top constantly, Australia. It's a matter of possession.
Meninga makes no mistake. Perfect record. Australia lead now 16 points to 4 in the first test at Calwell Park. Dane Sorensen restarting for New Zealand, and Australia, Arthur, look to have a grip on this match now.
Oh, yes, they'll go on with the game now, of course. They're too well-drilled side not to continue a try-scoring spree from here on.
Here's Paul Horton. McCabe. Jeff Gerard. Mark Murray.
Magnificent pass of Wally Lewis. He throws this ball very long and hits the man right in the tummy.
And here's the procession continuing. Gerard's kick came off a New Zealand player. Bell. Dane Sorensen. Broadhurst. Back to West.
On to Varley. Holmes come onto the ball. Strongly tackled there by McCabe. He's got it away to Varley again. On to Kurt Sorensen. Well tackled then by Wally Lewis and McCabe again.
Marley dummy half. No pressure for Sterling.
He's had a big game, this Fullerton Smith. He's been tackling well, coming onto the ball. He's well-deserved selection in this Australian side. He's had a big game. Gerard's running well today. On to Sterling again. On to Murray. Oh, magnificent pass to Meninga.
Still going too. Look at the Australians throwing it around now, but intercepted beautifully by Tamati from New Zealand.
Good tackle then from Murray. Stopped him cold.
Now New Zealand not done yet. Here's Big West. And away goes Lualai looking for his second try. Got a pass back in. No, he didn't get it away in the Australian defence holding. So close to New Zealanders.
They needed that try then.
Still on to Harcoy, Kurt Sorensen, O'Regan, a dummy. Oh, beautiful tackle. Kerry Boosted made the tackle, and they're so close. Scrambling play, but Australia able to save the day. Smith. Max Krilic. Lewis. Now Luluai out of position too. Rapati back there for it. Oh, look at that Australian defence, Arthur.
Magnificent defence. They're a great side. There's no question about that. They showed magnificent defence to stop the Kiwis going in earlier. Then they've used the ball, got it back into the Kiwi section, and also strong defence to hold it there.
Australia playing with a lot more confidence now, of course, with the game seemingly won at 16 points to 4. Here's Arkoi. Away to Smith. Gone without it. Smith picked up by Lewis. Regan, the tackler. Sterling. Now playing fullback Sterling, of course, with Brentnall's replacement. Boustead. Murray. Mix up. Krilic and Murray trying to work a run around.
The pressure's on the Kiwis, of course, to make the tries or score tries, and that's putting pressure and hurrying their play up a bit.
Well, Kiwis not done yet. Here's Luluai up there in the back line again with Arkoi now. Caught by Sterling. Hefty tackle out there from Wharton. Varley. West. Dane Sorensen. Now Luluai. Now Bell almost around Boustead, but Bowie clung to him and threw him into touch.
It was unfortunate football. Bell should have tried to stay in then. Bowie had him positioned beautifully against the sideline, and he's very quick, Boustead, of course. Very hard to get round, but certainly on the outside.
10 minutes remaining in this test match. Australia lead New Zealand 16 points to 4. And New Zealand haven't beaten Australia since 1971. The way the test match is going, this is another one that Australia will win. Almost intercepted by Wally Lewis.
Bad football from Varley then. He should have just dummied, taken Lewis with him and then unloaded, and it would have been on the ball, on the burst. He'd have had Smith away, but unfortunately they're rushing their play again. Can't do that against this sort of well-drilled side and the super fit Australians.
Scrum is on the Australian borderline. Varley. Another attempt. And one against the head. I suppose you could call it one other.
Oh, well, Treadle came out the same tunnel, and of course he let it go.
Now here's Rogers playing the ball forward. Lewis was there, as always. Sterling's long pass to Growth. Patty there to put Growth down. Mal Meninga. Sterling.
They're allowing the Australians to run and call the tune, and if they don't come in and make the tackles quicker, the Kiwis could have a cricket score against them.
Dave Brown. Attracted 3 defenders and lost the ball. So the scrum will set just on the halfway mark. Scrum's the favourite, New Zealand 12-6. Australia getting the penalty here. Just against Tamati, number 9, you can see there, or virtually sitting on the floor. Australia said to make another change. Pat Jarvis is on the sideline. Young St George forward, a surprise inclusion in this squad. He's about to make his entry into international football. Mark Murray. Lewis having trouble holding it, and I think you'll find that New Zealand have it. They have. Dane Sorensen looking for runners. There aren't too many of them. Broadhurst. And an Australian ball. Frilich. Gerard from dummy half beat off one tackle. It's taken Australia inside the New Zealand quarter now, only 20 metres out. There's another try on here as Frilich runs wide looking for a runner, but the defence was able to get to him first.
They grind sides down, this Australian side. They just keep at them, make no mistakes, and just keep moving the ball and make it hard for the opposition.
The mistake was made by Mark Murray. Pat Jarvis is coming on for Australia. See who he's replacing. A big moment in this young man's career, and Paul McCabe is the fellow who's being replaced. So number 15 for Australia, Pat Jarvis is on. Doesn't find very much ground, that kick. But Tamati will take the tap 10 metres outside the New Zealand quarter. Here's Graham West. Arcoy. Gary Prone, who's been taking the ball up strongly all day, which is more than we can say to some of his teammates who in the last 10 minutes or so after
they've stopped to a walk. I thought that the heavy ground may affect the Australians' condition, but they're super fit. But the Kiwis seem to be the ones that are suffering a little.
Well, Pat Jarvis involved in some heavy stuff in the first minute that he's on there. Very great. Weaving his way through this side. Look at that, just beating defenders, and he may be injured in the tackle. His head went back in agony.
He's a great winger, and this is the reason why. He looks and seeks openings, runs into them, but unfortunately he's been injured. Great Australian winger.
You watch the way he just goes through these tackles, weaved his way through, saw where the gaps were, beat that tackle of West, who just ankle tapped him. Dane Sorensen tried to get to him, and that's where the injury occurred as Sorensen pulled him to the ground. Both still having trouble with either his ankle or his knee. Working on his ankle area. It's quite cold here in Auckland today. It's about 14 degrees, I would think. Although these fellows should be warm by now, of course, but these sort of cold days when you do ankle suffer.
That's right. He'd have been warmed up well enough, but of course they're hitting very powerfully, and the give and take with the ground giving a fraction doesn't always help in this situation. He seems okay now. He's on his feet and he'll play the ball.
4 minutes left, and Pat Jarvis, first touch of the football in an Australian jumper. Dave Brown. Murray, Sterling, Lewis, losing his footing. Mark Murray. Last tackle coming up for the Australians. Frilich back to Vorton. Nowhere to go. Throwing the ball anywhere, and it was Arcoy who was able to scoop it up for the New Zealanders. Oh, look at the tackles going in on Dane Sorensen. Broadhurst side of the Australians.
The Australian defence is still as strong as when it first started. They're picking fellas out and really going in strong tackles, and I don't think the Kiwis are too keen to come onto the burst as strong as they were before.
Sorensen's kick for touch, finding it about 9 metres outside his own quarter. Children starting to gather around the sidelines at Carlaw Park in anticipation of the full-time siren. Dane Sorensen. Caught by Lewis, and he's lost the ball. Frome, and he's allowed to continue on. Well, I can't understand that one. Now it's still anybody's ball, and the referee has given it back to New Zealand. Well, strange decisions from the referee there. Kurt Sorensen finally got clear. He beat the tackle of Meninga.
Good covering defence again. Australia chase all the time. They're super fit, and they're really showing a defensive pattern that's near impregnable.
Oh, that's a beautiful tackle on O'Regan. Now it's Broadhurst. West. Arcoy. Caught by Lewis. 16 points to 4. The dying stages of this test match as it's down there for Sterling. No stranger to the fullback role, of course. He's played there for Parramatta a few seasons back. He played a grand final as fullback.
Yes, he's a great little player. He's very versatile, and I think the break from half-back may freshen him up too. He's
Pat Jarvis, Mark Murray. The second test, of course, will be played in Brisbane on July 9. Sydney viewers will see a live telecast of that. Jeff Gerard. Horton scooping it up. Jarvis. Horton Smith's pass to Rogers. Goldie saw a gap. Rogers got it back inside to Wally Lewis. Krilich is able to scoop it back to Fullerton Smith. Now he's over the corner. Inside goes Rogers. Rogers is in the clear. He's only just got the fullback to beat. That's 6 tackles.
Australia doing it easy. They're making inroads all the time, and they're a great side.
Luluai. Very cold at Carlaw Park now. Kurt Sorensen takes it up to the quarter line. Australia content now just to play out the remaining moments of the test. Broadhurst. West. There's the full-time siren. And referee White Whitfield signals full-time, and Australia have defeated New Zealand in the first test here by 16 points to 4. Now the statistics of the match. The penalties went to Australia 17 to 11. The scrums favoured New Zealand 12 to 6, and the full-time score Australia 16, New Zealand 4.